Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a really complex, um, powerful, and honestly deeply tragic subject, O
Yeah.
Block.
Right.
It's a name that's become, shorthand for both this explosion of musical creativity and at the same time, extreme violence.
Yeah.
Our mission here is to really cut through that and get to the core facts, the context.
Exactly. And just so everyone's clear, O Block is the nickname for the Parkway Garden Homes housing complex. It's on Chicago's South Side,
Okay.
and it is absolutely foundational to the story of Chicago drill music. But yeah, the notoriety, that comes from the intense gang violence that's made it synonymous with tragedy. It's really ground zero for a deep, complex conflict.
Right. And this isn't just about music, is it? It's this generational story. You've got creativity, terrible conflict, and then this struggle for transformation, all rooted in this one place, mostly involving members of the Black Disciples Gang. So for you, listening, we're going to unpack that tight link between the place itself, the rise, and, well, the catastrophic fall of its famous rappers, the deadly history of rivalry, specifically O Block versus STLEBT, and then what happens when a community just gets exhausted by it all and tries to find, some kind of lasting peace.
Okay, so where do we start? I think we have to look at the sheer star power that just erupted from this single complex. I mean, we're talking Chief Keef.
The pioneer, basically.
Yeah, he basically launched the whole genre globally. Then you've got Lil Durk, Grammy-nominated lyricist, Lil Reese, Fredo Santana, King Von. His track, Took Her to the O, literally put the name on the map worldwide.
It's incredible talent, just astonishing. But what we found consistently in the source material, it describes the fate for so many O Block members, not just as, bad luck, but as a tragic fate. Why that specific phrase? Why did fame, money, why did that provide an escape?
That's the paradox, isn't it? The fame, instead of loosening the grip of the street, it almost seemed to tighten it. Drill music, it acts like this real-time documentation of the conflict.
Right, the lyrics, the disses.
Exactly. The boasts, the threats they cemented, who was with who, became these public scoreboards. And that exposed them legally, right? Their own art used as evidence.
Wow.
And psychologically, too, because the fame was so tied to the very conflict they might have been trying to escape, they took the street code with them, even when they physically moved away.
And the roots of this modern conflict, the name itself, O Block, it comes from Odee Perry, right?
Yeah.
A Black Disciples member killed back in August 2011.
That's what the reports point to, yeah. That death is often seen as the real starting point, the catalyst that fueled this escalating cycle of violence that still defines the area.
And the cost of that cycle,
Yeah.
it's just staggering. King Von, arguably one of the biggest lyricists to come out of that generation.
Absolutely.
Shot and killed in Atlanta, November 2020. Just a huge public incident. And then his cousin, Fredo Santana, another really key figure in early drill, he passed away back in 2018. Complications, seizures, linked to the stress, the lifestyle.
Yeah, the immense pressure. It shows that talent, success, money, it just offered no real immunity from the consequences of that life.
So let's talk about the core rivalry. The
Yeah.
story of O Block. You can't separate it from its main rival. This coalition known as STLEBT. Different territory, same area.
Right. And this wasn't just some random beef. The sources detail this war just escalating incredibly fast, getting really deadly after the death of an O Block member named Reezy.
Yeah. And the timeline early on, it's just back and forth, isn't it?
It's a tragic exchange, yeah. For context, Tuka from STLEBT, he was killed way back in January 2011. And that event, reports really suggest it sparked the most deadly phase of the whole war.
And these weren't quiet feuds. They played out very publicly.
Oh, absolutely. Diss tracks, social media posts, constantly demanding revenge. It became this public theater, making it almost impossible for anyone involved to, step back or cool things down.
And the reporting, especially the street-level stuff, it details really specific, targeted violence.
Yeah.
There are claims about high-profile guys like King Von being involved early on.
Yeah, the sources mention alleged involvement in killings like King Doc and Manal in 2012, KI in 2014, stuff like that. It shows how personal and localized this war was, block by block.
But then it spills over, right? It doesn't stay local.
Exactly. And the moment that really brought it to national attention, the most dramatic example, was the murder of FBG Duck in August 2020. He was a prominent rapper from the rival STLABT side.
And this wasn't in the neighborhood. This was downtown Chicago, right? Upscale shopping district, broad daylight.
But broad daylight, the audacity is just... Yeah. And the details are horrific. FBG Duck was shot 16 times. His girlfriend was injured too. It was a calculated hit, no question.
And the legal fallout from that was massive.
It's huge. January 2024, 6 O Block members, including someone known as Muwap, they were convicted. Not just for murder, but on federal racketeering charges.
Okay, let's pause on that. Federal racketeering, RACO. That's a specific, heavy charge. Why is that significant here?
It's really significant because it signals a major shift in how law enforcement started approaching this. Our RACO charges are usually for dismantling, established organized crime like the mafia.
Right.
Applying it here basically elevated the violence from just a string of local murders to a conspiracy, a criminal enterprise. It's designed to take down the whole structure. And the consequences are devastating mandatory life sentences for those convicted.
Mandatory life.
Yeah. And the reports even named King Von and Lil Durk as potentially having coordination roles in that specific FBG Duck incident, which just underscores how deeply entangled even the successful artists remained in the ongoing conflict.
Wow. But even with those huge convictions, the violence didn't just stop. The timeline keeps going. We get right up to basically the present day. May 2025, the shooting deaths of O-Block rappers Munna Duke and Youngin.
Yeah, in Chicago's Edgewater neighborhood. And what's particularly heartbreaking there, what the local reporting suggests, is that Munna Duke had apparently been actively trying, to distance himself from the street life before he was killed.
So even trying to get out doesn't guarantee anything.
It just highlights how incredibly difficult it is to truly cut those ties when your whole identity, your history is wrapped up in it. The escape road is rarely clean.
Which is exactly why this next part is so important. Because despite all this continuing cycle, the research suggests we're seeing a real pivot point now. On the ground, people are saying conditions are, quote, changing rapidly.
That's right. And that change seems to be driven in large part by a really profound faith-based movement. We found a lot of detail on the role of Muslim brothers within the community, people like Kanoya Ali, Sadith Ali, imams too, like Muhammad Jabir, who came from New Jersey, and Imam Abdullah Madun from Masjid Ihsan, right there in Chicago. The Muslim Ummah, the community, it stepped in as this powerful alternative structure.
What's driving that? Is it just individuals finding religion, or is there something more communal happening? What's the mechanism?
It seems to be both spiritual and communal rejuvenation. The sources say the conversions are often fueled by people just desperately seeking an alternative to the violence, the despair, the destruction they've lived with.
Yeah.
We saw a quote from a former gang member who described it as finding a way out of, quote, violence, despair, death, family dysfunction, and destruction. Faith offers this new framework, a moral code, a community, a brotherhood, really, that feels stronger, more sustaining than the gang structure.
A different kind of belonging.
Exactly. It provides a deeper sense of meaning and purpose that, frankly, the street just can't offer long term.
And the sources actually credit this effort with actively transforming the community. There's this powerful phrase, making Black humanity once again whole in Chicago. What does that mean practically? Is it about healing? Reconciliation?
I think it's both. It speaks to healing that deep generational trauma, restoring a sense of dignity that gets stripped away by, systemic neglect and constant violence. And it's not just local. We're seeing peace activists, community leaders from other parts of the country offering help, seeing O-Block as maybe potentially a model for change.
Okay, but hang on. We're talking about conversion, faith, being presented almost as a solution to these incredibly deep-rooted problems.
Yeah.
Poverty, lack of opportunity, gang structures built over generations. That feels like a huge burden for a faith movement alone. Are there limitations?
That is absolutely the critical context we have to stress here. Yes, the new Muslim presence is a powerful force, especially for individual change. But the research is really clear. This is an important part of a much bigger effort. It's not the whole solution on its own.
Right.
The systemic challenges, they're still massive. Individual spiritual change doesn't magically fix poverty. It doesn't create jobs overnight. It doesn't erase decades of disinvestment in these communities.
So you need the long-term programs, too. Yeah. The ones that tackle the root causes.
Absolutely vital. And this is where the practical, on-the-ground work comes in. The reports highlight people like Kanoya Ali, specifically working as a violence intervention and prevention specialist.
Okay.
He and others are focused on providing concrete alternatives, not just faith, but, educational resources, mentorship, actual economic pathways out. To sustain any kind of peace, you need that consistent, long-term programming that supports the new life path with real material opportunities. It has to go beyond the individual conversion.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, O-Block really exists at this incredibly sharp, painful intersection, doesn't it? You have this raw, unfiltered, artistic talent drill music colliding head-on with extreme generational violence. It created this cycle that tragically claimed some of the biggest names in modern hip-hop. But now it stands at this really fascinating crossroads. You still have the tragedy, but you also have this real hard-won possibility of transformation, largely fueled by this spiritual movement offering a different path.
And the ambition, you can really feel it in the reporting on the current efforts, is for O-Block to eventually become, a testament to the power of actually escaping that life, a place where faith, transformation, they're strong enough to maybe overcome the systemic destruction.
Maybe.
We've seen the individual changes happening fast, it's powerful. But I think this leaves a really important question for you, the listener, to think about. When you have violence this complex, fueled by such deep systemic issues, poverty, trauma passed down generations, how long does it actually take for that kind of faith-based individual change to become real, lasting, community-wide peace, something to explore on your own?